So, welcome to Sounion. Here we are. I hope you can see the temple behind me because that's why you come here. But we're about an hour's drive from Athens here. It's a very easy drive. You come down the Athens Riviera, down effectively the west coast of Attica, which is the spit of land which Athens is on. And if you've got a day and you're wondering what to do, I would suggest you consider coming to Sounion, because here we are. You can see it's beautiful and there's lots to explore. And it's not just about those ruins there. It's also about all the beach clubs here. So let's have a look. So, as I said, the road down here is easy. It's about an hour from Athens. It's a beautiful drive down the Athenian Riviera, as it's known. And the car park is right at the end here. You just put in Sounion into your sat-nav, the archaeological site of Sounion, and it brings you here. And you can see there's a ticket office. So we're walking up to the ticket office. I think it's 10 or 12 euros to get in. I'll let you know in a second. So, 10 euros to get in, 5 euros as a concession if you're an OAP or a child. But you can see we're right on the tip of Attica here. It is beautiful, and Attica is the little bit of land that Athens is on. Now this site is very well invested, and unlike most sites where I say don't bring someone in a pushchair, don't bring children, I would say that you can definitely bring anyone here. It's really well done, very accessible. So as we come up the hill, we get a fantastic first look at the Temple of Poseidon and the fortifications here which surrounded it. And the fortifications in the temple are not really contemporary with each other. The temple itself was built in about 440 BC. These fortifications were built during the Peloponnesian Wars with the Spartans, when the Athenians and the Spartans were at war with each other. And the Athenians were really worried that the Spartans were going to come up here and destroy this temple, as the Persians had a couple of centuries before, in about 480 BC. So they fortified this place. And this is a fantastically preserved temple. You can see, dating back, as I said, to 1440 when it was built. Prior to that, there had been another temple, either on this site or in this location, to Poseidon. But the Persians won the Battle of Thermopylae against the Spartans, Leonidas and the 300, which is famously recreated in Hollywood. And then, having won that, they had free access down to the south of Greece. So they came down to Athens, avoiding Thebes because Thebes had allied with them, and leaving Thebes alone, and they burnt Athens to the ground. Athens disappeared. And then they came down here, to the Temple of Poseidon as it was at the time, and razed that to the ground. So between about 480, when the Persians came here, and 440, when Pericles and the Athenians built this temple, there was nothing here but ruins. But the Athenians had invested their silver, which was mined in this area, and Athens was built on the profits of silver. The Athenians had invested a lot in their navy, and they had a fantastically strong navy. And at the Battle of Salamis, they took on the Persian fleet and destroyed it, basically. And from that point onwards, the Persians lost control of Greece. And it allowed Pericles, who was the father of Hellenic Athens, the Parthians, we see it now, the Agricola, etc., to rebuild this place with his countrymen. And they did so. You can see on the temple walls graffiti scratched into it. Some of it may be even 2,000 years older, some of it rather newer. I can see some there which says 1895, for example. But there is a signature here of Lord Byron. And Byron, of course, was an absolute hero to the Greeks during the Independence Revolution. There is no evidence that the signature here was made by Byron itself, but there's also no evidence that it wasn't. So it's fanciful thought that perhaps Lord Byron, he certainly came here, it's documented that he came here, but it's fanciful that perhaps he actually signed this monument. Most people who signed it, obviously, would probably be thrown in jail nowadays. But if Byron did sign it, then it's fantastic, and it's provenance for this place. The Athenians, this was an incredibly important place for the Athenians because Poseidon, they were a naval nation. Greece has a longer coastline than any other nation in Europe. The sea was incredibly important to them. They passionately believed that it was controlled by the god Poseidon, who was the brother of Zeus, of course, the king of the gods, and Hades, who ruled the underworld. And so they would come up here with large numbers of animals and have regular sacrifices and holidays to Poseidon to assuage his rage and ensure that their fleets were successful in war and ensure that their traders and their boats could travel the Mediterranean safely. So it was incredibly important to them. And hence, up here, overlooking the sea, the temple to Poseidon was larger than the temple to Athena. And of course, Athena was incredibly important to the Athenians as well. They called Athens after Athena. So from this spot here, we get an ideal view, really, of the fortified wall that surrounded the tip of this cape, with Poseidon's temple on the top and the wall to the left here. And the wall basically came down here with a fortification and ran all the way down here, you can see it, and round to the left to the top of this bay where it finishes on a cliff above the seaside. It was about 400 meters long, and it allowed the Athenians to protect this sacred site from attacking invaders. You can see an illustration of how that fortification would have worked, surrounding effectively an acropolis with the Parthenon right at the peak of it, the Parthenon with the Poseidon temple right at the peak of it. Now if you look at this wall, it's really quite dirty. Okay, it's got some mud on it, but the blocks here, for example, which aren't particularly muddy, they're quite grey. And then you've got the contrast of this white marble here, which was used, of course, to build the temple itself. And that marble almost certainly came from Penteli Mountain, about 20 kilometres from the centre of Athens to the north, and where they mined the marble for the Parthenon and the Acropolis in Athens from. And this is the same marble. They will have rolled it down the mountain where they quarried it, and they will have put it on boats and brought it down here to build this temple. And it shows the quality of the stone that they were getting. Now, the drive down from Athens is fantastic and well worth it. You come down this road here that you can see in the distance, and it hugs the coastline. It comes all the way down from the centre of Athens, through Glyphada, past the old airport, Anatolica or Aerodromio, to Vula, which is a fantastic beach, and then carries on down the coast to the tip here, where you have Sounion. Now, should you not have your own car, you can get down here on an organised tour. There are plenty of bus tours which run here every day from Athens. As I said, it's only about an hour. They will stop. They'll probably stop for lunch at a particular beach club or something, but it's well worth it because you don't need more than perhaps an hour, hour and a half here itself. But the drive down is part of the experience, and I'd highly recommend it. I really would. If you're in Athens and you've got a day spare and you're at a loss what to do, either go to Corinth, which I think is amazing, or come down here. Now, when you've visited the Temple of Poseidon, make sure that you come down the hill here, across the road, and enjoy the views, firstly, of the bay over here, but secondly, visit the Temple of Athena here. It may not be as impressive, but it used to be almost as large, and of course it was very important to the Athenians because their whole existence was named after the goddess Athena. And whilst here at this site, Poseidon was more important because of the location to the sea and the cape overlooking effectively three sides, you have here the foundations of a fantastic temple. And it has a very similar history here to the Temple of Poseidon, in that it was knocked down by the Persians. There was a temple here previously dating from at least the 6th or 7th century BC, knocked down by the Persians in 480, and then rebuilt actually before the Temple of Poseidon in about 460 BC. About 20 years before the Temple of Poseidon. So you can see Sounion is not just about the ruins. You also have these fantastic beach clubs here where you can come and spend a very relaxed and smart day. You can also stay. You don't have to stay for the day. You can use it as a hotel. And there we have the Temple of Poseidon on the hill, looking majestic and fantastic, I think you'll agree. Just unbelievable. Absolutely fabulous. You can see the wall running down, the defensive wall, Temple of Poseidon on the top, and the beach club to the left with a hotel. If you want to use one of these beach clubs for a day, I believe it's about £25 for a day, but it's not bad value really. You get a nice beach, you're not far from Athens, it's a really nice day out. So worth considering, not just coming down here for the ruins, which you need an hour and a half for, let's be honest, but also the beach clubs. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my little look here at Sounion, at the Temple of Poseidon, at the Temple of Athena. There isn't as much to see here perhaps as Corinth, which is just as close, but different direction entirely. But as I said, if you want a day out from Athens, if you're not just looking for ruins, if you're looking for fantastic food, a beach bar, etc., then the Athens Riviera down to Sounion is well worth considering. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe, watch more from me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.